Okay, so now on to quotient rule. So this is when you have a function and it is written in the form of one thing divided by another. So we'll have a red divided by a blue. You can call this one is U or F. Oops. So this is U or F of X, and this is V or G of X. Whichever one you want to call it. IB calls it one, and the other one, Delta Math calls it another. Okay, so as far as memorizing quotient rule, it is on your formula sheet, but again, the more things you can memorize, the faster your test will go, so you're not having to look at the formula sheet. So I prefer memorization, but that is totally up to you. It is on your formula sheet. You just have to know how to read it. So on the formula sheet, what we have is VU prime minus, this one is minus, so the order does matter, minus UV prime divided by V squared. Okay, so the reason why I think it's easier to memorize here is there are a couple different tricks you can use. As for myself, the one that I use the most often is the fact that I say the VU is prime, remembering that this goes first, so VU prime, the VU is prime, but it's V squaredy, like very scary. That's how I learned how to memorize it. But Liz last year pointed out that the V's make a V in the formula. So whichever helps you more, or you can just use your formula sheet. That's totally up to you. So now I'll go through example 1. Okay, so here we have V, so that's 2x to the 4th plus 4, times U prime, so that's the top one, the derivative of the top. So we have 20x to the 4th plus 8x cubed plus 6x. So VU prime minus UV prime. So we have 4x to the 5th plus 2x to the 4th plus 3x squared times, oh, I'm running out of room, times the derivative of the other one, which is just 8x cubed. Thank goodness, it wasn't very long. And all of this is going to be divided by our V squared. And then I think Delta Math lets you, once you simplify it some, I think you do have to simplify it some rather than just writing it out like this, but they don't expect it to be totally simplified, like it'll still be a fraction. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Okay, so here it is written out. One of the most important things to remember when using quotient rule is the fact that this negative here is distributed to the whole second quantity. So I will go ahead and simplify it. Okay, so after I multiplied that whole thing out, I'm left with this. I would say for IB, the only other thing I would take the time to do, they don't expect you to divide it all out, but there is a common factor here in the numerator and the denominator. You can factor out a 4 and cancel it. But I don't even think Delta Math asks you to do that. But if it does, then you could simplify it further, but I think they just want on Delta Math this last step. So I will do number 2 now. You can pause the video, try it out, and then when you come back, the answer will be on the screen. Okay, so after you plug it into the formula, it should look like this, and then I'll go ahead and walk through the steps of simplifying it. You can check your answer, pause to work it out, and then check your answer if you want. Okay, so here is the final answer here at the bottom. Again, you can check my work. It's possible I could have made a mistake, but just make sure that you distribute that negative. So it would become negative 60x to the 9th and plus 45x to the 8th and plus 75x to the 7th before you simplify. But I'm pretty sure that's it. So now you have enough to get product rule and quotient rule done as well. You don't have to work on that homework until class on Wednesday, but if you wanted to get ahead, that could be a good plan. All right, so that's that.